Hello, boys. Hello, girls. Hello, whatever you want me to call you. Well, that would settle everything right. Um, some people already know it, some others don't. I am currently working on an RPG game. There's still a lot to do, but sometimes I can already show a few things. And this time, you may walk or or look with me while I am designing a new room for the mysterious cave in the game Luna's Father. This here are the layers. Layers are actually areas in my map system called Kthura. Well, first, of course, you wonder why does that map system have such a close to impronounceable name. Kthura is the name of this girl here, and she was the planned heroine for a point-and-click adventure called Murker, and the Kthura system was actually set up for this game. However, some difficulties I came across while setting a few things up forced me to cancel the game, most notably on the art department. I'm not really that good of a drawer, and the entire theme behind Murker required rather specific kind of objects. So I was a bit stranded here. Well, I already have two layers, and this is the third one, which is small because I placed a safe spot here. So I am going for the fourth layer. Now, Kthura is actually an object-based map system. So you may see a grid, but it is actually completely composed out of objects, and I may later show a few benefits of that. Vloer is the Dutch word for floor, and in most indoor locations I mostly start with the floor. And you see that the floor is actually green, despite the texture list implying that it would be gray. That magic is here. Every object can have its own color, and when you use the same texture it merely copies what you used before. And you can see that I was now with scrolling not directly in that, but that doesn't really matter. I'm just placing some floors right now randomly. That is not the way I wanted to have it. Come on, pay attention, Jeroen. You can do better than that. Righto. And well, oh yeah, let's just go up. Dum-de-dum-de-dum-de-dum-de-dum. Yeah, with Control and the directional keys I can scroll. The interface system that I use is called June 19. That is merely named after my birthday, which happens to be on the 19th of June. So if you have any other meanings behind that date, well, then I can assure you that they have nothing to do with that. And thanks to June 19, I could make those nice radio buttons and the text fields where I can put in some data, etc., etc. Well, No, not that way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, oh, I didn't want a zone. Fortunately, I can remove it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, that will do. Now back to the other side. Dum de dum, dum de dum, dum dum de dum. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that will do. Well, you see tiled area. You can see why it is called that way. Obstacle. Well, let me place a few, but I will only, and I will put the grid mode off. And now can you see a few nice things? They are not exactly on the 32 by 32 grid that I used for the floors. 45 degrees rotated, minus 45 degrees. Now I can put in a little 5 degrees. And perhaps a little bit darker than normal. Let's put the value on 80. Yes, that is quite nice. And now let's put in the walls. I will paste some more stalagmites later. Well, nice to note is that impassable is now set to yes. The game uses a Dijkstra-based Pathfinder. That Pathfinder system was named after Edgar Dijkstra, a Dutch computer scientist who lived in the 1970s and did very important things for computer technology worldwide. And his Pathfinder system, which would later be succeeded by A Star, forms the basis of many computer games in which the heroes can easily move around and ignore obstacles and such. And many navigation systems in cars and mobile phones and that kind of crap are also based on A Star, which was, as I said, based on the algorithm by Dijkstra, and that was the wrong texture. And if I press Ctrl B now, then you can see here what would be blocked, and everything that is dark green would be open. And the Dijkstra routines can. How did it know I wanted to use these textures for a blocked area? That was simply because it takes over the last setting that it had when I used it last. That's all. And if I turn this off, then it won't yet northeast. And yeah, Zuidoost, which means southeast in Dutch. I'm very inconsequent with which language I used. Pretty terrible, I know it, it's bad practice. You should always stick to one language. But I guess this is just some fine-tuning in the size. You could see that. But to get back on the topic that I was talking about, yeah, when you are multilingual like me, after all, my first language is the Dutch language. Then you easily mix up two languages. Well, do you see the entire wall that I drew? Yep. And of course I won't put some stalagmites or anything into that now, as that would only be distracting. Best way to go is to first put in the floors and walls and stuff like stalagmites or torches or that kind of thing is for later. Now you see a very small amount of textures. It's now set to use. When I set it to all, then you get all the graphics, but perhaps you understand that it would give me a headache if I would have to scroll through all that crap all the time again and again. And why would I modify anything? Let's see, northeast. Now I can put something here that is just to give a bit of a nicer effect. You see that I place the north and south always over one tile. That's for a reason. That's because the artist placed a tiny bit of space above and below, so the floor and the wall would have a bit more of a natural flowing over into each other instead of a straight line. That does force me in cave locations to always be aware of that. Let's see, northeast, yes, that should do it. Northwest, and yes, with modifications, everything will count as one object and not as one tile, as you would see in regular tile-based editors. It has both its pros and its cons. These cave textures were originally designed for tile-based editor. It was only later that I switched to an object-based. As I said, it was originally for a point-and-click adventure in which you normally don't want to work tile-based. And when I got to work on my Star Story 1 project, I was still living a bit in the disappointment that Kthura would not see the light due to the point-and-click adventure design that I had being cancelled. So I was wondering, why could I not do it for an RPG as well? Well, and the rest is history in my particular case. Now you see a rectangle that I make black, and you see me holding down a bit on the dominance. Dominance, the more dominant something is, the more it comes up front. Now it's the walls have dominance 20, this rectangular dominance 18. When I make it 180, then you will see that it will come. That is a bit of the bit secret. And I always give the floors a very low dominance to make sure that the heroes will always have, oh, that is the wrong texture. Will always go over the floor, and that the floor would never go over them. I guess that makes all a perfect sense, or at least I hope it does. That red area is what I call in Kthura terms under origin. Basically, that is when the coordinates, you can see it when I move the mouse there, go below 0. Although you can place objects under origin in Kthura, it's overall highly not highly disrecommendable. Is that proper English? I don't know. And frankly, I don't care. So if there are any grammar Nazis out there, then they will know now that I don't care. Zones are basically invisible. I see them now because I have to edit them. When I put them this way, and you won't see them in the game, but they will allow me. And when I ink the block map, then you see here that these zones were set to impassable. And so, as such, the Dijkstra routine will respond to them. Of course, you can use that to make invisible walls. I prefer not to do that. It was also not really the intention I had for putting zones in. There are multiple things that you can do with zones. Well, before I scroll out of this area, we have the nice tag system. And I tag this object with next. All tags must be unique in each layer. And the game is configured to every time the player walks over an area, either that be a tiled area, a stretched area, a rectangle, or a zone. To start off an event, and when it is called next, then it will always go to the layer with the next number, so that would be layer 5, which is right now still empty. Exit spot is just a spot where you come out after any kind of transportation, and facing west, and einde is the Dutch word for the end, and that is when coming back. That will be done with an area tagged as pref for previous. I guess that was obvious. Then they will come back and start on an exit spot tagged as start, which is, and if you ask why use the English word, well, simply because the Dutch word is exactly the same. Only a slight different pronunciation. The English pronunciation is start, the Dutch pronunciation is start. Hardly any difference, but I guess you still heard it. Yep. Yeah, I'm not that much of a pretty good narrator. As a matter of fact, I know I suck. But you get a bit of the idea what I am doing right now. Let's see. Yep, that will do. Well, I guess it's getting pretty boring right now, as there is not much new to offer in this stage. And therefore also not very much for me to say anymore at this point until I come to the next stage of design on this particular floor. It's not easy being green. Yeah, I wonder myself about why I suddenly had to think about that particular song. Well, as you can see, I'm almost entirely round. Or how do you say that in Dutch? In English? Whatever. Side west. And well, that should do it. Ah, I see, I've missed a spot. Now, that should do it. A bit of. Now, like I said, I had to tap this as. Yeah, okay, I didn't choose the right direction. Haha, doesn't really matter. East, and the tag will be start. Let's mess a bit around with the exact coordinates, and well, let's first place a few black orbs. The black orbs will, well, people who played the Fairy Tale Revamped or the Secrets of Dirt already know about these black orbs, as when you have 6 of them in the Secrets of Dirt, you can open a secret road leading to Juggernaut. In the Fairy Tale, when you collect 250 of them, you will immediately face Juggernaut. This game will basically use the same kind of variant, although the exact number has not yet been decided. Now, this is only the texture, but I have some extra tools that will react on these textures and generate the correct text, so the game will respond to them. The same to these nice little bags that will contain random treasures or money. In Luna's Father, all you can get from random treasures are ingredients for the alchemy that Francis, our little alchemist, can use. So no healing objects or anything like that in these small little bags. As you can see, I turned off the grid mode so I can place them roughly without caring about the grid at all. And just for the heck of it, makes this one a bit larger than the others. Simply because we can do it. And a little bit of rotation. Yeah, let's put one of these in too. And just block the entire road with it. These crystals will have a random element, and Frances will be able to extract it from them and use that element called manaments in this game for her own alchemy purposes. So it's that's not what I wanted to see. Yes, that's what I wanted to see. Hey, I already noticed that the game slows down terribly when I place too many of those crystals in one layer. So I will have to moderate that a little bit. Yeah, a chest. And a few stalagmites, just for the heck of it. Let's turn this one in a flip effect, just because we can. And it only contributes to some more cosmetics. Now, I had been thinking to place a few torches here, but as this cave is supposed to be a place where people haven't been for a long time, I figured it would be best not to do it until the very last spot. And now let's play a little joke, as otherwise the player would be able to go straight through those stalagmites, and that is of course not how physics work. So let's, with these zones, force the player to go around them, just for a bit of more realistic effect. Of course, we play games in order to escape reality. I know. It's always a bit of the challenge of where you want to be a bit more realistic and where you don't want to be. Or I'll skip it. Well, that was almost half an hour that I have been working on this particular floor. Nice to know. And okay, those zone numbers are actually tags that are with zones put on automatically. Basically, the game ignores them. They are mostly there for my own convenience. And well, that settles it. And of course, then there is floor number 5, where you already see 2 treasure chests. But that is actually a later concern. It's where I planned the boss enemy of this particular floor. Well, and as a last gift, I will show you a few things of the floors I already have. Let's just put it this way, and let's put that grid view off. so you can see it in a more natural way. And well, that settles it, as I am going to end this video for now. And well, it will be months before the game is actually ready to be released. If you are interested to be an alpha tester, then you are quite welcome to let me know. All I ask for is that you have a GitHub account so you can report bugs to me through the GitHub issue tracker system. The link to the GitHub repository will be in the description down below. And that settles it. Well, catch you later. Bye bye.